into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh my goodness! Hello everybody! Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV's Parenthood After Show. We're here doing Season 6, Episode 12, the penultimate episode. We made it through the night. We made it through this episode. Oh my gosh. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Joining me, I always have.
Hey guys, I'm Kellie Knezovich.
Hey y'all, I'm April with some hair.
Enjoy this theme song because it's one of the last few times we're going to listen to
it.
Don't do that.
But so good. It's the last few times we're going to... Forever Young.
I like the little
All right,
twang we had.
we had to get it. We had to sing it.
Oh yeah, and one time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this episode. I don't even know where to start. Okay, I just got to preface it. All of us, like had Kleenexes. We were crying.
Wiping your eyes. Yeah.
Crying in this
It wasn't
episode.
just our eyes were watering. No, we were full on like, don't ruin the makeup.
We're reapplying our makeup
Yep.
before we go live here. What did we think of this episode compared to the last couple episodes that we had? This was way more emotional.
Much more emotional. I mean, I'm pretty sure almost everyone cried.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
got
don't know if
worked up
Adam
earlier.
did, but I Crosby did when they were talking about when they were having that big argument and discussion.
Yep.
Christina, Zeke, Sarah, everybody.
Everybody.
This episode was not at all what I was expecting it to be. For the, second to last episode, I thought it just took us in a completely different direction than I thought it was going to take us. I expected a few things, the Amber situation, but I was telling Kellie right after the episode, it wasn't the saddest or really more emotional episodes that we've seen, but it was the one that I felt the most in almost, and definitely cried the most, just because of, and it was honestly the one-liners.
I was just gonna say that. I think it's the one-liners.
Two moments where I was just like, I'm like, my heart, I don't know what's going on right now.
And the silences too.
Yeah, silence was heavy in this
Silence
episode.
is deafening. I admit that this didn't feel like an episode that would lead up to a finale. It felt like a regular in-between kind of episode, not like a filler or whatever. It was just, it didn't place anywhere in the timeline if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of heavy emotional moments, but there are a lot of light moments too. There was a nice balance. But let's start with some of the lighter bits, and we'll definitely get into the thick of everything later. But Chambers Academy, we saw a lot of the Chambers tonight, and we saw Edgar, who's a student. He wants to be a chef, and he wants Adam's help. And he wants Adam to be a mentor, to be a chef. What do we think of this, despite the fact we've never seen Edgar before, bringing in a whole new character?
I think it's so weird bringing in a whole new character, a whole new storyline by the end of, or the second to last episode of the series ever. It's a little bizarre for me. I do like that Adam's being a mentor, but I think that that's kind of his role this whole series, is being the big brother, being the father figure to Crosby or to anyone at Chambers or Max. And it's in Adam's character to be a mentor, but I just thought it was weird bringing Edgar in.
Yeah. I thought it was a great way to showcase Max a little bit, even though it wasn't directly showcasing Max. Mm-hmm. It was a good way to kind of put a little bit of a, stamp on his character. And this is what we've all been wondering really kind of throughout the series, is where is he ultimately going to go in his life? And this was a good way to kind of bring that up, even though it did bring in a, you know, a strange character that, I mean, I loved his character. I thought, you know, it was definitely enjoyable to watch, of course. But, you know, even though it, like, I guess not took the place of one of our normal people, but semi did, I think that that's why they did it. Because instead of, like, directly going there, it was a good way to kind of go there and to be able to have that conversation with Max. And I think that was probably, like, the last bit of the, like, Max. Oh, that is tough to say.
Yeah. Last bit of everybody.
Yeah.
But I did like how they went an ulterior approach, an alternate approach to not directly towards Max, because we're focusing on other kids like him. And where do they go in their future? Do they have success and potential to be successful out there? With that 85% of Asperger people are unemployed. And I figured that's a really, really high percentage.
That's really high.
And it's kind of frightening, but I loved, what did we think of how Adam and Christina handled that situation with Max?
I loved it. I thought, you know, they always have the best words to say to them.
They really do.
There have been times in the past where I'm like, you're coddling him a bit much, but he's I also don't have a son who has Asperger's, so who knows how I would act. But I think at the same, like, they always just know perfectly what to say and how to not be too overbearing on him, and to not, you know, they don't, like, force him to look at him, but yet they force him to talk to them.
And to make sure he's listening.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they've perfected it at this point.
I think it was a really good way to wind up Max's character and Max's storyline, because, you know, we're expecting to see in, I was gonna say tomorrow's episode, in next week's episode, we're expecting to see some sort of future something with the characters. And I think this was kind of, I mean, they can't put everyone in next week's, they can't give the future for everyone for next week's episode. But this is why I think that they're doing Max's tonight, because I just don't think they have the time for next week. I think there's a lot of things that we need to cover next week. We need to get through a lot of things. And I think they just kind of fit in Max's future plans, or like, he will be successful. Yeah. I think they fit it in tonight.
And I liked how they shot the academy, because we saw all the different people doing, like, the different recreational dancing and cooking and, like, all these different subjects. And when you're looking at them from the naked eye, it looks like they're completely normal people.
Yeah, exactly.
You would never think that they have special needs or anything like that. They can be successful. And I liked how Parenthood put that positive message that, yes, despite you might have a learning disability or whatnot, you can still be successful out there. And this is the place why we have all these people, so they have that chance to be. Yeah. To go out in the world.
I loved Jasmine teaching the dance class.
I did too.
Yeah. I didn't know that she did that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knew that it was a surprise to me that she was at the academy, but it made sense. I didn't mind it, because we know she's a dancer.
Right.
So, and of course, Christina.
That moment with them was good.
Yeah. And then we saw Dylan too.
We saw Dylan. She is a dancer. Didn't know that, but.
She was good.
Yeah, but she has a chance too.
Right.
So, like, I liked how they showed that.
Right.
All right.
Max has a future in photography.
Yeah. And also, I like the little moment with Edgar and Adam, and he was questioning Adam, like, where do you want to be? Like, what things do you like to do? You know, that whole conversation. And Adam's like, I'll let you know when I figure it out.
Yeah, he's still in the process of figuring out what he wants to do. I mean, with the Lunchonette officially being over, I think he's still trying to figure out what it is that he wants to do that makes him happy. And
yeah, let's go into the Lunchonette. Is this a surprise compared to last episode, when we all believed that the Lunchonette was back up and running and they're gonna start fresh, start the new year, be successful, and then to turn it down again? Just shut it down.
So surprised. And I'm tearing up a little bit. I'm trying really hard not to. And I'm kind of mad at Christina over it. I'm not gonna lie. Only because, like, I get where she was coming from, because Jasmine did, you know, I don't want to say interfere, but in a sense interfere by going and talking to Adam without Crosby's permission, or without him even knowing, I guess. But Christina does that all the time, to no regard. And so it kind of was like Adam had his mind made up, and I mean, I guess it kind of goes both ways. I can see where Jasmine was coming from, and I can see where Christina was coming from, but I'm just kind of like, no, it was perfect.
Christina said to Jasmine that you made him feel guilty.
Right.
And when they had that conversation 2 episodes ago, last episode was it?
Last episode.
Last episode.
Do you think that's right, though?
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that she made him feel guilty? Because she said, I want you to just reconsider or just to think about your decision. But do you think she did make him feel guilty and that's why he decided to go back with the Lunchonette?
I'm sure to an extent, yes. But because when someone approaches you that way and when, you start to really think about things. But I also don't think, I honestly feel like she kind of left it open. Like, just please tell me that you'll at least reconsider it. And that's not too much to ask of someone. So I think, and I thought that after Adam kind of went over the numbers, and he seemed a little excited about it again. And so
he didn't seem like he felt guilty. Like he thought, it seemed like he actually did think about it.
Right. I think guilt probably had somewhat to do with it. Maybe at least him reconsidering. But to me, he seemed like it was something that he wanted to go after again.
I think Christina and Adam, they're very good at communicating. They're very good at talking about everything that's on their mind. I think they should have had a conversation. I think Christina should have brought it up with him and said, why did you change your mind on the Lunchonette? Is it because you feel guilty that Jasmine came over? Get down to the bottom of it instead of going straight to Jasmine and saying, look, you said this to my husband, and because that clearly didn't turn out well.
No, and I believe it was last episode too where I asked, how is Christina feeling about this? Now we know.
Yes.
She's not too happy.
No.
But, I mean, I can understand from her perspective that, yes, financially they didn't have a great year. But also, do you want to keep going and maybe have the chance to be successful and have a successful business? I don't know. And also, I think it was Adam, like, he saw how much it meant to Crosby, but not to him. So was he going in the business for the right reasons?
Right. I just hate that the argument came back to everybody feels like they have to take care of Crosby and he's the baby. And it's like, and of course that's going to hurt Crosby's feelings. And y'all know, and I don't like to see my baby Crosby hurt. And it's just... it's like, no, this was more, I felt like this decision was more than that on Adam's part last week. And then tonight we learned that it wasn't, so I was semi-disappointed by it. But I understand at the same time. But of course it's sad to see it go. I mean, it was such a huge part of it.
They're packing it up, and now it's really going.
I feel so bad for Crosby. I feel like this season, just nothing good has happened for him.
I have predictions on Crosby.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I still feel bad.
There. And I'm writing this down before I forget Crosby.
There you go.
All right. So, unfortunately, it looks like the Lunchonette's gone. Yeah. Big surprise.
Bye-bye, Lunchonette. We'll miss you.
Yes. But Team Julia is looking good and bad, but mostly good. But mostly good. We see Joel. He moves back in. The kids are kind of happy, but Victor is still questioning it.
Yeah.
And is this a surprise? Because we knowing Victor's background, he came from a broken family, and he's not very trustworthy. If they fight again, that Joel might not stay.
I'm not surprised at all that he's reacting this way. I totally expected it. I feel like he is nervous that like you said, he can't trust the fact that Joel might walk out on them again. And it's totally understandable. I mean, Victor's come from a broken family beforehand, and this has happened before where Joel has left. So I just think that he has a right to be nervous. And I don't know how old he is at this point.
Yeah.
But he's old enough to, have those feelings and those concerns and to really understand. Whereas Sydney's like, you're moving back in? Yay, happy family. Victor's like, okay, well, what happens if, A, B, C, D? So I understand.
She's just a year younger than him, though. And
is
so,
she?
Yeah.
Because you remember when Victor had to get held back a grade, she's like, so he's going to be in my grade?
That's right.
So like I tell y'all every week, obviously, my mom, I'm from Alabama. That's where my mom still is. She watches every week, but she watches an hour before us because that's when it airs there. So she is sending me these texts like, oh my God, this is not good. This is not a good episode because of what's happening to Joel and Julia. And then while we were watching the episode, I get another one. She's like, never mind, it was good.
Oh my gosh.
Because she's as like nuts about it as I am.
You are,
but I feel that's where their relationship is. It's a lot. It's very rocky. It's a lot of up and down.
They have a lot to work on. I mean, just because Joel comes back into the house doesn't mean everything is perfect. They have a lot of ground to cover.
And I'm so glad that they're showing that. Not to say, I don't think she meant that that wasn't good. I think she meant like they weren't going through good things. But I'm happy that they're showing this because,
I think they're legitimate concerns.
The show is all about real life and not just like, oh my God, we made up, I love you.
Yeah, everything's perfect again.
And so, obviously I don't like to see them fighting, but I do like to see them making up at the end.
I mean, it's good that they're fighting and actually arguing as much as you don't like that, but they're working through their problems this time. And I liked how the first time they started to argue was in front of the kids, which was not good. You should definitely,
even though they took
isolate
it outside.
yourself. Yeah, you should isolate yourselves, not in clear view, but glass windows. I mean, your kids are going to see that.
Yeah.
But I loved how they isolated themselves at the end of the episode in the car, arguing, working out their issues, having makeup sex. Yeah. The greatest.
I loved whenever Joel opened the drawer to put his stuff in there and he sees all of Julia's new, like, sexy lacy undies. I mean, I hope she uses that with him, but like, what a moment.
I don't think he looked at it as like, oh, what's this for later?
Clearly not.
I mean, I was so awkward. I just felt very uncomfortable.
Well, because he obviously realized, like, oh, these were for other people and not for me. But I mean, that's part of, like, what a girl does at the same time. I mean, don't guys go out and buy sexy underwear too?
Maybe.
But, obviously this was something that we knew was going to be an issue. So I'm glad that, clearly they've learned, I feel like, from the past because they are talking about it instead of just sweeping it under the rug. We even see Joel kind of try and push it off. But I'm glad that Julia was like, no, like, I'm afraid not to argue.
But see, that's the thing,
Take it to
too.
the car.
Yeah.
I was really annoyed at the fact that Julia was like, we can't talk about this right now. We'll talk about it later tonight.
Sure.
I'm the type of person that if I have an issue, I want to solve it right away so I can move on. We can move forward and not worry about it. I don't want to wait 12 hours till we come home after dinner, after the kids go to bed, and discuss our issue because I'm just thinking about it all day.
But yeah, I was like, sometimes you have to because they have kids, they have to go to school, they have daily obligations to go to, and then unfortunately, I mean, sometimes in a relationship you have to put your kids first. I mean, you should always put your kids first, but then at the end of the day, you finally work out your issues.
I just,
I mean, that aspect was very realistic.
Yeah, it was.
Definitely.
I
Seeing little Victor, though, like y'all already said, upset about it and just kind of worried, he just breaks my heart because he's so good.
Yeah.
And I just his evolution throughout the show has been one of my favorite parts to see, just because he's, we've literally seen him grow into this like huge person, and also a great character too. He. I don't know. That's why it like breaks my heart to see him sad, but also I love it because he is, he feels like a real part of the family.
Yeah.
There was so long where he did it, and now he's worried if his dad is going to come back, and it's just really sweet.
I know. And I loved how he and Sydney are now at the age where they're old enough in being aware of everything. And they can process that, yes, our parents might not be together again, or they are together again. So really, they're old enough to understand everything that's going on.
He asked one of the best questions of that entire thing when they're like, we're back together. And they're like, well, you'll be here forever, I think Sydney said. And then he's like, but how do you know? How do you know you won't fight again? Or how do you know you won't leave again? And I mean, Victor's got the brains,
right on
baby.
it. They know.
Yeah.
Kids always know. All right. Now let's talk about Sarah. Sarah was all over this episode in so many great ways.
She had me feeling this episode.
Yeah.
She had all of us feeling all the feels. But Sarah and Hank, now they're actually talking about wedding plans and whatnot. Hank wants to be married at the base of a volcano and a dormant volcano.
Just not a gazebo.
Not a gazebo. All these crazy life environment situations that they might, but they're thinking about the wedding, and I really like that. They're moving forward.
And I also like that he's involved in the wedding planning, even though, we find out that it's going to be next week.
Yeah.
I love that he's actually interested in voicing his opinion. I just feel like when we first met Hank, he was so quiet and such an introvert, and now he's just like, he's so open with her. It's so good to see.
So honest, too.
Yeah.
Just straightforward with all of his emotions.
And he can understand when something's wrong with Sarah. If she's quiet, he's like, oh, are you okay? Are you sure? He's very very telling of how she's feeling and
can gauge.
Yeah,
Yep.
good at that.
The way that he compliments her too, I thought is just so sweet tonight. Whenever he's like, "You're beautiful," but you know, he has his own way of saying it clearly. But those are things we never used to see Hank do. You know, or it was always really tough for him to get out like a, "I like you," you know. And now he's like, "You're beautiful." I mean, you're beautiful, but on the inside too. And I'm glad to see them. I'm really glad to see them moving forward with the wedding. And actually, you know, at least like talking about plans, you know, we see the flash forward, clearly there's a plan, but, or in the preview for next week, I should say. But, yeah, I like it. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
And they want, well, Sarah wants to have the wedding nearby.
Yes.
Because she wants Zeke to be there.
Literally,
That was so hard.
chills literally just went up my legs.
I mean, I love the moment where they're in the dark room and Hank is just like, you know, just talking about how Zeke has been such a great father and he's shown nothing but love. And the fact that he didn't get that from his father because his father walked out. And just like Hank actually explaining that and saying that out loud, a whole character growth like we've been mentioning, but that was so sweet. I can't handle it.
It was. And him, just the way that he asked her, you know, how is it? Like, how does that feel? Because I don't know. That in and of itself is huge. And just the fact, you know, like later on in the episode, Sarah comes to him and says, you know, I want it to be next week because I want to make sure that my dad is there. I mean, holy shnikes. That was just amazing acting on her part. Like, we're giving Hank major props right now, which he deserves fully. But she was just so good in every scene. And I mean, just the way, because it's such a real thing, you know, you always want, of course you want your dad to walk you down the aisle or whoever is that person for you. And it just makes it so real, not only in her life, but also in our lives and in the parenthood world and everything. It's just, I don't know.
Everyone can relate.
Yes. And we'll get into Zeke moments for sure. But before we do that, we also have to talk about Amber. Amber having contractions the first time. Ends up with just gas.
You know, it happens.
Maternal, you know, it happens. But
I loved her. It's just gas.
It's just gas. But I loved how the whole family was just like, okay, let's go to the hospital. And they're all meeting up.
They
And
already
they're
have
like, no
balloons.
baby.
Let's be real though. If you got a text from your family member saying "baby" with 3 or 4 exclamation points, you would for sure think the baby has arrived.
I would
Drop
think the baby was on the
everything
way.
and
You
go.
would think the baby's on the way?
I think so.
Oh my gosh, I'd be like, the baby is here, let's go. I wouldn't be like, oh, she must be in labor. We'll wait like a couple hours. I would not take that at all.
way. I wouldn't react that way, but I wouldn't think that she had already delivered, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain works in
But
different
I
ways,
love
though.
the Braverman family. They just drop everything
Yeah.
to go to the hospital.
And
All
of course
for
they get into
nothing,
a fight,
but-
though.
Yes, of course. I mean, we did see, but to have your whole family there at, you know,
The drop of a hat.
drop of a text message.
Yeah.
Love it.
But no Drew.
No, Drew.
Yeah, that
which
was
I'm
odd.
very, very surprised considering, you know, sister and he's going to be an uncle. He was no Drew.
I mean, obviously he's far away. No, he's not
No,
far
he's
away.
not.
He's in Berkeley. He goes to Berkeley. Never mind.
he's in college. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that far. He
But I think
probably
he
could have beat
needs-
a lot of the people to the hospital. Honestly.
I think he needs someone to pick him up though, right? Because last episode
His car broke
didn't Hank have to
down.
go
Oh,
pick
yeah.
him up?
Yeah.
Don't they have Uber
But-
in Berkeley?
I would
They have
hope
Uber
so.
everywhere.
But in fairness, we did have Edgar. So it's like it's
That's
usually
true.
like when one person's gone, someone else comes in. So we had Edgar in the spot of Drew.
Right.
But we'll see Drew next episode.
For sure.
I mean, it's the finale next episode. But what do we think of the baby Zeke?
Oh my gosh.
was he?
I really want
My
to remember
word.
which one of us predicted that.
I don't know.
Can't-
Like,
I mean, if
swear
we
to
might
don't
have-
remember,
I,
It might
well,
have
I
been
already have a
Lexi.
terrible memory,
Yeah.
but I feel like it was like the first episode of this season.
it might have been Lexi.
It might have been
Just
Lexi.
saying like, oh, the baby's gonna be named. She's gonna name him after Zeke if it's a boy. And what do you know?
That
Baby
that was it for me.
Oh,
That moment and the happiness on his face. I mean, literally right then I was like, I need to have a baby so I can name it after one of my family members. Because just to see how happy he was and the look on her face.
And Sarah's face too. That was very touching for Sarah.
Yeah.
You just knew, I mean, obviously it was such a huge moment for him and for all of them. And it's, I mean, it just shows him how much he really does mean to everyone, obviously.
Yeah. He's a rock.
Yeah. He is, and it reminds me of the episode a few episodes back where he was talking to Amber on the porch, and he promised that he was going to hold her child, and we had it.
Oh my god!
We had it tonight. So, like, I love Parenthood. They foreshadow so much stuff that we forget.
Yeah.
But we are catching on to it, though.
But we had that moment tonight.
We're catching on to it with one episode.
I know.
Well, we did. I mean, yeah. We talked about the baseball diamond like super early on. Too,
Yeah,
so.
we did. But we'll get there.
Yes.
But I did love the moment. Very, very sweet. Baby Zeke is now in the picture. And I'm glad they didn't spend a lot of time on it.
Me too.
I mean, she went through labor and then she had a baby.
I think it was more important to see the interaction between Amber, baby Zeke, and Zeke. It's more important to see Zeke's reaction on the grandchild being born as opposed to let's focus on Amber giving birth.
Right. Well, because it's all about Zeke.
It is all about
Zeke. And if you think about it, if the older Zeke passes, we still have younger Zeke.
It's a circle of life.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. When one person goes, another one comes.
know.
It's how the universe works. It is. But okay, Zeke. So many great episodes with. There's great moments with Sarah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, we teared up at like every single Sarah moment.
I really did.
We really did, and especially when they're on. Well, throughout the episode, we see Zeke and Camille. They want to talk to the kids and say they're not going through the procedure, but when they're at dinner, he can't go through it. That was kind of heartbreaking.
Well, I mean, the kids were fighting. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There really
It
wasn't an opportune
best
moment.
time to say it.
But they weren't even they weren't fighting though. They were like joking about this old fight, but it was just too much for him, the yelling and everything.
I think he just kind of wanted it to be a peaceful, and then it was too much. It was too much going on, too much yelling. It was stressful for him.
But that's what they're so I don't think they understand that side of him just yet, because that's what they're so used to doing, and like he enjoys that, and he's like, no, Crosby, you did this and everything, and they're not. He's clearly a much more solemn man right now, anyway. But y'all, the scene with him and Camille on the hike, I don't think she looked happy about his decision.
No, well, you could tell but being that solid wife, she's gonna be with him and to the end, whatever he decides.
I just think as soon as he says, I'm not gonna go through with the surgery, she says, okay, well then you're just gonna, whatever happens, you might die tomorrow, like we don't know type of thing. And that is such a scary thought, as we've discussed already. So I just think the fact that they even had to have that conversation, regardless of what the outcome would have been, saying I want to go through with the surgery, I think she would have been like, okay, she would have been not upset, but I mean, just the fact that you kind of know that your husband's on his way out.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
hard.
props to Bonnie Bedelia. Her acting, so subtle but so
Unbelievable.
effective. Just her standing there and like silently crying to herself, realizing that the end will be near.
Oh, you go, girl. She's good.
So good. So good.
And the moment at the dinner, whenever Zeke gets up and then Sarah walks into the room and she tells him that I kind of forgot that she hadn't told Zeke yet.
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
And just that, I'm so proud of you, baby.
Oh my
it's
God.
just the interaction between them.
I want you there at my wedding. I want to walk you down the aisle.
Yeah. And oh God, I mean, what is there to say?
I mean, we were all crying at this point. We were like Kleenexes out.
Yeah.
We had our moment.
Yes.
We had several moments actually, but
we did, yes.
And then also like a more positive, actually good moment was when Sarah went to go visit Amber at her place, and then she sings on the guitar.
She's amazing.
I mean, well, yeah, Lauren Graham is actually a singer. She was on production on Broadway, Guys and Dolls.
Ah, very cool.
I did not know that.
She's so good.
Yeah, I mean, she's actually a singer.
And
so,
Mae Whitman is amazing too.
Yeah, I loved it.
That moment together was so perfect.
You
mother
know,
and daughter.
the song they were singing, Joni Mitchell? Mm-hmm. Which also, if you remember, when Drew was trying to woo...
Oh, yeah, Natalie.
He was
Good
playing...
memory right there.
He was playing Joni Mitchell.
Yeah,
That's right.
They're a Joni fan.
So, yeah, they're all Joni fans. I mean, I really feel like Joni speaks to all of them.
Oh, yeah.
In so many different ways.
Yeah.
Their music's amazing. But, great.
That was just such a
Great.
special moment between a mom and daughter. And not just that, but also just between their characters as actors. Because, you know, they've all constantly said in every interview how much they love each other and how they truly are a family.
Right.
And you can... I always feel like you can tell the connection, like when two actors have a real connection with one another. And it's just the way that they were looking at each other during it. It was just such a sweet moment and such a good moment. You know, another, of course, real moment, because Amber says, you know, I was relieved whenever I realized that it was just gas and that the baby wasn't on the way yet. And that's a very honest thought, because of course, you know, she's so young, it's very scary, but her mom is her rock and her mom is always going to be there for her. So she, you know, she can stand up whenever she needs to.
And the fact that Sarah can say, you know, there's just something happens, something clicks as soon as you hold your baby. It's like your life changes and you know, she won't have the worries and problems that she has now. And you totally saw that moment as soon as Amber held the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's so many moments.
I know.
It's such a great conversation.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
And it also just applies to life. Something shifts and eventually everything just works out. Mm-hmm. You might not think it, but you have to have faith.
Everything happens for a reason, some may say.
And then, but I loved how it was just Sarah at the end, you know, helping deliver the baby.
Me too.
Yeah. She was there. Who else would it be?
But that's how, like, I get the same way sometimes. I have not had a baby, but I get the same way even just like when I'm sick. I'm like, the only person that I want is my mom. Mm-hmm. And I love that Sarah was, you know, because Hank probably would have wanted to be there. I'm sure the whole rest of the family wanted to be there. But I love that Sarah's like, no, sorry, she just wants me. I gotta go. Bye. Yeah. Thank you. Send you a picture.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're just the best.
Shout out to all you moms out there.
Yeah.
What up, mamas?
Thank God for mothers.
Yes.
Speaking of picture, also, I love the moment when Camille's painting Zeke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're going to see that picture again.
Yes.
Predictions. That's in my predictions.
Oh, my word. No,
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Great episode, though.
Yes.
Amazing.
Amazing episode.
We were all crying.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's get to some news,
All
shall
right.
we?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, news.
News song right there. We'll sing it.
Okay. I mean, we do have a couple photos and whatnot, but before that, I believe you actually have some news.
Yeah, so I read a TV Guide article that Erika Christensen retweeted the other day, and it was an interview that she did, and she talks about a major flash forward that we will see. This kind of goes into predictions semi, but it's, you know, what she said. But we'll see a major flash forward, like 6 Feet Under style kind of thing, and it's a 3-year flash forward.
Ooh, a lot happens in 3 years.
And she says something about how a lot happens in the family.
Yeah.
Clearly not necessarily with her and Julia, maybe not or her and Joel, sorry, and not necessarily with the whole family, but y'all already know what I'm predicting for them, so.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with my news too. There was an interview with Jason Katims. He said for the flash forward in the finale, he used the end of Friday Night Lights, his other show that he successfully produced, as an inspiration on how to end Braverman, because at the end of that show they did a flash forward and really wrapped up everything to see the future roads traveled by everyone. So that's his trademark. I'm
That's
guessing
his thing.
that's his thing.
Well, that's very, you know, we've all talked about how important that is to us. And we really just started kind of talking about a flash forward last week or the week before, you know, predicting that it would happen.
I think we realized that's kind of what we need to feel good that Parenthood's over.
I know.
But it's still going in a way. And Kelly, I believe you have something.
Oh, I was
as well.
just going to say the same thing.
Oh, great. And also, in extension to that Jason Katims interview, he said that everyone will be back for the finale. We did see Hattie really quickly in the preview. But someone who's not coming back is actually John Corbett, who plays Seth, the father. But the thing is, his scenes got cut. They actually flew him from New York City to LA to film the scenes with Amber and her baby and whatnot, but they had to cut his scenes due to time constraint.
I love John Corbett, but
I love him too.
I'm not necessarily like extremely up. I would have loved to see him, sure, but I'm like, I gotta get as many like Bravermans as I can.
Yeah. And honestly, I think if they bring back his, I mean, I can understand it to bring him back only to get proper closure and maybe have some sense of, you know, civil conversation with Amber and Seth so they can actually be on talking good terms. But I don't think he's needed.
No.
I don't think he's needed.
Not necessarily.
Sorry, one more thing. I realized that you were right. I forgot. Sarah. Lauren Graham was on. She was doing a bunch of press this week.
She was.
And she was talking to Seth Meyers on Late Night with Seth Meyers. And she was just saying how everyone was bawling. I mean, that's, I think pretty much every cast member has said that the last couple episodes, everyone's just bawling and super sad. But she did mention about, there's this one scene in the final episode where everyone's on a baseball diamond. So,
Yep.
guys, we're just nailing it with these predictions.
Totally.
Got it.
And also, in that fun interview, go check out Seth Meyers. It was
fun.
a great interview. Her father and her brother actually made cameos on Parenthood.
Yeah, in the hospital tonight.
In the hospital,
Yeah.
they were sitting there in the chairs in the waiting room. And I was like, there's Lauren Graham's dad.
I want to be an actor just so I can do that for my family. Like,
Yeah.
shut up.
There's me. Well, that's also a tradition with Lauren Graham because on Gilmore Girls, her whole extended family made cameos on Gilmore Girls throughout all those seasons. So, of course, she had to have her family on the show, too. And then there was a fun video. We had a lot of news, but there was a fun video that NBC released with the cast members and just asking them their favorite moments or favorite storylines. Monica Potter said hers were the Asperger's story and the cancer story because it really affected a lot of people. Miles Heiser said when Drew sang with Amber, that was one of his most fan reaction moments. When Drew sang with Amber, when they were singing on the guitar. A lot of people love that one. Max Burkholder says, everyone says he's everyone's surprised that he doesn't have Asperger's. Dax Shepard says cheating on Jasmine was a fun story for him, but also making out with Minka Kelly like really made it worth it.
Oh, he would.
Yeah, he would say that. Bonnie Bedelia said she really liked the story of running off to Italy. Like her character did, and selling the house because she knows a lot of people who came up to her that were going through the same thing, selling property, and one person wanted to sell, the other one didn't. And then Erika Christensen said that everyone was really passionate about Team Julia.
Oh,
of course they were.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, and really quickly, Peter Krause said the fever is always, when they're dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Fever. People call him Fever out in the streets.
Or is it because of when they... Oh, no, that's called like Boogie Time or something like that.
But he's known to get the fever. I think we need another fever moment in the finale.
Will we see it?
Maybe. That'd
Hopefully.
be cool. We definitely need that too. And then also, over our long hiatus, I actually went to NBC Universal where they filmed Parenthood, and I went to the actual set. So if you can see, if you're watching, listening on iTunes, definitely check out our YouTube video. You can see these fun photos that I have posted here. The first one is the outside set. This is actually a soundstage of Christina and Adam's house.
Oh.
So you walk up the steps and you can actually go in. And then moving to the next one, this is the living room where there's the couch and all those books are like real books and real pictures.
This is the new Zeke and Camille house. Yeah.
No. This is Adam and Christina's house.
Oh.
It's a little bit dark, but it brightens up later.
Now I can picture it.
Yes, this is their living room, and all the books have to be approved because they're actual labeled books.
Oh my gosh.
And the pictures scattered throughout are real photos that the cast threw in.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, and moving on to the next one, we have their dining room, real table there. It's all live, like real life size sets.
That's cool.
And then our next photo. This is Max's Braverman's bedroom.
Where he was reading the Einstein book tonight?
Yeah, yep. And like a lot of his books are the scientific books and stuff that he studies, which are pretty cool. A lot of photography books as well. Oh, that's cool. Moving on, we have this is their bedroom.
How cute are you?
I had to stand next to it, of course. This is Adam and Christina's master bedroom, and there's that's me. If you look at the top, you can tell there's no ceiling because in production you never see the ceiling.
Exactly.
So really cool. And the funny thing is that side drawer next to the bed, Monica Potter actually has her side script in it. Yeah. So we opened it up and there's an actual legit script in the because when she forgets her line, she has it right next to her.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I love their bed.
Yeah, it's nice. And then moving on, we have this is their bathroom. You wouldn't think it, but there's no shower in there.
Oh.
But there's just the look of the bathroom, and then from the side, there's really no shower. They fake it.
I think the only thing we ever see in the bathroom is of that scene where Max is putting on deodorant.
Yeah, it's all staged.
Cool.
So, gotta love production.
Wow. Yeah.
And then moving on, we have you see from this angle, it looks like the actual bathroom.
Yeah,
right.
You would never know.
Right.
But that's a fake tub. And then moving on. We have, this is the outside to Chambers Academy, where actually we saw Adam and Crosby's hanging up the sign.
That's right.
So this is in a different location, separate from the actual house.
Oh,
Which are really neat. I had a lot of fun.
I bet.
We're so jealous.
I think that's all for the photos, but yeah,
Cool.
I had a lot of fun there. And you guys should check it out. I highly suggest anyone check it out while it's still available because this is the last season. They might strike it.
Yes.
But really, I had to go before it ended.
Yeah.
I had to.
We should, definitely.
I used my pull. I was like, I need to be there. Really, really great times and great episode.
Yes.
I had a fun time. And you know what? Let's get to predictions. I almost forgot. All right. So, predictions. Yeah, there it is.
Y'all.
Y'all, so much.
I know, it's bad. Zeke is not gonna die.
I agree.
We're gonna see it. Who said that?
Wow.
We're gonna see it. I think we'll see it in the flash forward. I think we discussed it before. We all agree on that. But I don't think he's gonna die in the actual episode.
No,
I think it'll be, or not that they'll show him dying, but that maybe maybe there will be a conversation about him not being there, how someone misses him, or something like that.
I think it's going to be implied.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all come to terms this whole season that Zeke is going to die. Everyone is under the same impression that Zeke is going to die. I don't think they're going to have a funeral. I think the last big thing in next week's episode is going to be the wedding, and that's going to be the big moment between him and Sarah. And then I think in the flash forwards, we're just not going to see Zeke. That's how we're going to understand that he passed away.
Yeah, there will just be something.
Yeah, it'll just be missing.
Exactly. That's what I think, because with the flash forward, we'll see everyone playing baseball, but Zeke is not going to be there.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of the ending of, have you ever seen the film The Family Stone?
Yeah.
Yes. Which Craig T. Nelson also stars in that.
Right.
So spoiler alert,
right.
someone dies, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
It's implied that they passed away. So we're gonna see that. Also with Crosby, now the luncheon is gone, I think Crosby's gonna get a big offer to work somewhere else, and we're gonna see that in he's working at this big recording studio, whatever. And then also for the portrait that we saw that was getting painted, I think they might end on that or something. We'll see.
Oh, that would be good.
We'll see a shot of the portrait
Yeah.
that Camille painted.
I just-
Maybe not the end shot,
Yeah,
but
I
they're
feel
gonna
like the
see
last
that.
scene, it's just going to kind of, they're all going to be on the baseball field, and they're just going to slowly zoom out and fade to black.
And
Much is happening.
yes, we see the dust in the
dust
air
comes up.
and dust in the ashes.
I said it last week, but I'm still predicting Julia baby.
Yes.
Okay, I think
And
we'll see that in the flash forward.
Yes,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
I don't think we'll learn that she's pregnant, but I think
Right.
there will be a small little baby
So you
in the
think
flash
she's
forward.
going to get pregnant? She's going to get pregnant, or you think they're going to adopt?
I think she'll get pregnant.
She might get pregnant.
That's what I think there will be a baby, but I'm leaning more toward that she'll get pregnant. Just
like it.
because it's been, such a huge part of their storyline.
Yeah.
It would just be amazing. I mean, if they're going to drop us with a flash forward without Zeke, then I better have some good news.
I think there will be a lot of good positive moments in the flash
I think we're
forward.
going to see with Adam and Christine, I think Adam's going to be probably working full-time at Chambers Academy, being a mentor for a whole bunch of other people. But then, I think I would like to see something great happen to Crosby, but I just don't know if they can. I mean, unless we see in the flash forward that he is working so hard at some record company or record label. But I don't know if they're going to address it in the last episode. I think it's just going to be all about the wedding.
I think in the flash forward is where we'll see it. And I think that I kind of picture him like, backstage with the band, and then you see him like making deals and, talking and that sort of thing. And he's just like happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of good things to look forward to.
Yep.
Yes.
This is the penultimate episode. We only have one episode left.
Oh my God.
I can't.
It's the final countdown.
It is. You know what? And I highly suggest for everyone who's listening and watching, just go back and watch a lot of Parenthood.
Yeah.
Just binge watch this whole next week.
I
And
might
just
try to
watch
do
Parenthood.
that. I'm sure it's possible.
I don't know if I
in a
have
week.
enough tears to do that.
That's true, actually.
I don't know. Tear ducts are
I'll be
only
very
made for so much
dehydrated.
crying.
Yes.
But
Then again, you get past a certain point and you'll be good.
Yep.
Maybe you'll get past the point.
we might be more accepting for the end.
There you go.
to be near. Okay, great episode. Where can everyone
Yes.
keep following you for our final?
April.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kellie Knez.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those fun places at AFTERBUZZ TV. Join us next week. It is the finale episode. The series finale episode.
My heart is
I
breaking.
I know.
Oh goodness, you think we're a mess tonight? We're gonna be a mess next week.
Yeah.
But we'll get through it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you for the final episode.
See
See you
ya.
next week.
Buzz you later.